chain to get the Earth Crystal, and she was finally behind that. Whether it'll be another one of those character recruitments or one of those boss locations that ends up being the deciding factor, we'll see. And wow, this is a very nice start with Fusoya there.
A Harp, a Fu, a Yang. So you got some good late game. You got your early game pretty much covered. This is that's a start I would be very happy to have.
Yes, indeed, especially since you're going to want to check those extra boss spots anyway, because you're going to be looking for both Odin and Bahamut. Having the extra incentive to do that with Fusoya, getting those extra boss spots down and powering Fusoya up, very, very nice.
So a couple of our other flags that are enabled is some of the key items can be mixed with the Summon quest reward. And of course, the J abilities are on, so you're going to have Fu with his Recover, Bless, and Yang with his Brace and Power. And that's a Tella in the end, guarded by a Lunar Sparkle.
So that Lunar Sparkle could be the Bahamut that we need, but of course our runner's not really willing to make the check immediately here. We see Invenerable with a very interesting play here. He went immediately to Eblan Castle. So one of the things that has really changed has been the way items have been balanced in their distribution here. The randomizer now tends to favor putting higher level gear in higher level areas. So Invenerable going to one of the highest level places available in the overworld here to do his initial gear search, and running into a few trap chests early. So now that he knows where theirs are, that's going to be a lot of loot for Invenerable here.
That's very, very interesting. And knowing where those trap chests are, you can just save scum and just avoid them afterwards. I do want to correct you though, that Lunar Sparkle cannot be Bahamut. Bahamut has his own unique sprite.
Oh, you're right. I am wrong. I apologize for that. But speaking of dragons, we do have a D-Mist sighting here.
Is that Vanilla D-Mist?
I believe it is. Someone might question if a random algorithm has even been applied to this seed.
Vanilla D-Mist is never fun, but it's nice to find that early, something that you don't have to worry about until... that you just don't have to worry about. And of course, Vanilla D-Mist, easy to beat. Get those 3 extra spells and extra 100 HP on Fu, and that's a pink tail.
Wow, that's pretty big. That means adamant armor as soon as the hook is gotten, but on Invenerable's screen, he found a free set of adamant armor in Eblan Castle, so he doesn't even need the hook for it. He is already in an incredibly strong position here with adamant armor, Fusoya, and he sees Edward being guarded by Golbez there. Looks like he was going to go for it for a second, but finally decides to reset.
As nice as Edward can be, not for Golbez.
Yeah, especially I can imagine what he was thinking right there. I've got the adamant armor, I've got the paralyzation and the death protection here, so I can do a little bit of things here to make the Trollbez fight a little less trolly, but ultimately deciding, yeah, it's really still not worth it just for Edward.
No, and I mean, if you could maybe get the Edward to hide, get all 3 characters, but it's still just time consuming. So we have Invenerable now facing Odin in Antlion, so that's one of our objectives.
Yeah, that is going to be a very, very quick completion of objective number 1 here in Invenerable. Lit 1 doing 1200 damage on that Fusoya with the elemental weakness and the adamant armor combo there. That is pretty impressive. Don't usually get to see that kind of damage from a tier 1 spell. And there's the hook.
Speaking of the hook, when Simbu and Dr. Crossack make it over to this Antlion cave, they're going to be really, really happy with that. That's going to get them their adamant armors.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if Invenerable makes the check in this cave here, gets his pink tail, if he decides to go get a second set of adamant armor. He probably doesn't need it immediately, but it'll be really nice to have down the line.
But this also opens up the chance for a hook route. And I mean, with an adamant armor, you're less scared of a hook route, but there are still some things that adamant armor just doesn't matter against.
Yeah, right, you are. There are some things that can still, present a problem here. It's not a complete get out of jail free card. It's just going to trivialize a lot of encounters going forward. Finding Asura here in the waterfall cave, and it looks like he's going to fight her to get that food powered up a little bit.
Makes sense. Invincible looks like he's going to go for the life lock on Asura, and then shouldn't have any trouble from here. Invincible, very, very familiar with life locking it. Pixel Tamer just finished up his Odin, and Simbu looks like he did as well. And now we have Dr. Crossack heading down into that antlion. So Simbu's probably going to go get that adamant armor fairly quickly.
Yeah, wouldn't surprise me to see a lot of our runners just immediately want to go cash in that Pinktail, get that adamant armor in their inventory, get it on their foo, and really kind of lock down their early game power here.
Very, very true. And the nice thing about the adamant armor, besides the incredible defense it has, it also gives you plus 15 to a lot of your stats, including agility. So your foo is going to be fast. And normally foo just sits there at a measly 20 agility.
Yeah, and you could actually see that in the way both these runners approach that Odin fight. Invenerable was able to take Odin down with just a single cast of Lit 1, only doing about 700 damage for each of the other runners. They had to do it, cast it twice. So even at that, low level of a spell, it still has that massive of an impact.
Edward getting no love tonight. Everyone just resetting out of that Golbez fight, and I do not blame them. Golbez is just a time sink. Simbu is now taking on Asura, and Invenerable is going to be ecstatic to see this demist.
Yeah, I'm not sure how he's going to feel about that Pinktail, though, because it's not exactly progression, but it will be nice to have a second suit of that adamant armor eventually. Looks like Simbu was able to get Fire 3 on his Fusoya. That is really, really going to help speed things along here.
Those tier 3 spells going to do a lot of damage, especially in this early game, and that Fu is going to be very, very thrilled. Invincible now picking up his Pinktail, and Dr. Crassack now has his hook, so gonna see where our runners go next. Oh, Pixel Tamer is over in Fabul.
Yeah, this will be a brand new check for us, and we've got Lunar Boss. It's Plague.
Not upset with Plague.
Yeah, I'm not sure how much shopping Pixel Tamer's done, if he has access to lives to be able to deal with that count spell, because I don't think he's got the damage to definitely doesn't have the damage to just burst through that. So I don't think he's going to be able to handle this. Yep, and that takes the reset there.
Plague, always nasty when he shows up, unless you can get some of those little tricks, such as that Edward up on Hobbs would be nice.
It would be, but I don't think anyone wants to go through that Golbez. Yeah, Dr. Cossack taking a peek, saying, no, I don't like that combination one bit, and is heading right on out of there.
Yeah, no one's going to deal with Golbez for Edward, even if it is just Mount Hobbs.
Yeah, sorry, Edward fans. Maybe if we find a spoon later, somebody will be willing to make the plunge there.
You just mentioned the spoon. What does the spoon actually do?
Well, we have the spoon flag on, which gives it an additional function. Normally, just a little Easter egg item. It's a throwable weapon for Edge that does a massive amount of damage. But in Free Enterprise, the spoon flag will let Edward actually equip the spoon as a weapon. It turns him into a very interesting glass cannon fighter. Since the spoon has 255 attack power, Edward will hit like an absolute truck, but he'll still be his normal frail self. So you can do some interesting things with him with a spoon that really make him a little more viable than he might normally be under ordinary play.
And just to kind of point out, the Crystal Sword, Cecil's best weapon, actually has less attack power than that spoon. So the spoon is the strongest attack power weapon in the game, and you equip it on the Spoony Bard.
Yeah, which is interesting because Edward actually has a pretty high natural agility growth, so he can get a lot of turns in with that spoon. Dr. Cossack finding the pass here in the Fabul defense, so that is access to Zeromus.
Pass leads straight to Zeromus, so just need to find the Rydia, the Cecil, get through ordeals, and still need to find the Bahamut. and Dwarf Castle, right? Yes.
Yes, and Dwarf Castle. So we still need access to the underground, which we do have through that hook, but I'm sure our runners would love to lay claim to a magma key rather than going underground. But I think the only check we have left in the overworld is Baron Inn.
We still have ordeals as well.
Oh, that's correct, right. We do have ordeals, and that is necessary, so probably going to jump up in priority for a lot of runners who normally don't like doing ordeals. In fact, there goes Invenerable. He's making the ordeals play now.
Well, with the food, that's 3 bosses, so ordeals is already very appealing. And Adamant Foo, yeah, Invenerable is, unless there's something really nasty up here, which I don't think anything could really terrorize him, should be fine.
Yeah, Wyvern would be nasty, but gosh, Adamant Foo would probably even outspeed that. Instead, he gets a completely free fight in the form of King Queen Evelyn, so not a bad start.
Pixel Tamer just now getting through their D-Mist, powering up that Foo a little bit more. Gonna be happy to see the Pink Tail, since everyone else is getting their adamant armor from the Pink Tail. Only Invenerable found that additional adamant armor.
Yeah, right, Gerard. It's a very, very interesting play to go immediately into Evelyn Castle like that. Really kind of taking advantage of that knowledge of, you know, how the rebalancing has gone in chest here. Like we saw some of our runners in the last community race, when we had an early magma key available, immediately went underground into the Fame Arch and started looking in chests there, and that ended up being a pretty key play because there were some defense swords for starter Kmain. So it's really interesting to see these high level areas sort of valued higher.
That is a really interesting change. And just to point out, we got my favorite back attack boss in Karate, because he decides to kick you from around the world.
It seems like he spawns there pretty often, just for our amusement, and I absolutely love that.
No, it's a very interesting thing that happens, and it's always a pleasure when it does. Unfortunately, you know, Simbu with Lit 3 just gonna immediately blitz the poor Karate.
And here in the Clueless Shrine on top of Mount Ordeals, Invenerable is getting an Earth Crystal. Now that is huge. Earth Crystal leads to 2 potential characters here, either of which or both of which could be characters required to fulfill the quest requirements here in as far as recruiting Cecil and Rydia. That also is kind of a natural lead into the Twin Harp check that all of our runners got from the beginning. So it would that would seem to be a logical next step for Invenerable and Simbu here after they grab their Earth Crystals. And Dr. Cossack not far behind them.
Of course, we had a French vanilla Mylon Z, very, very quick. In this spot, it's just not a threat.
Yeah, not to mention Fusoya has a suite of high-level tier 3 magic right now, and that spot only has about 1,000 HP. So yeah, really nothing is going to be nothing on Mount Ordeals is going to stand in the way of our runners right here. Very, very easy clear.
Pixel Tamer, the only runner that didn't go to Ordeals, is now taking on that Asura. Looks like it probably just a single Fire 3 should take this out. But yeah, with that Earth Crystal in hand, you're going to want to probably go up that Tower of Zot, especially since you still need both Rydia and Cecil. 2 character checks, like you said, that's the only 2 character check left for us. I think it's the only one we have in this in these flags. But also we have that Earth Crystal, like you said, the Twin Harp, perfectly set up with that. And it's nice to be able to get those 2 checks together. And it looks like Pixel Tamer is now going to make their own attempt again at this plague. More levels on Fu, now probably has that adamant armor, not going to have any trouble. It looks like Invenerable is looting Zot.
Yeah, and Scala Kitty in chat, one of the developers here, pointing out that the way that this Troya Armory is weighted right now with the rebalance, there is a high probability to get some really good stuff here. You're already seeing things like Heroine Robes and Bahamut spells, so nothing amazing there, but still really, really high tier stuff that can sell for a lot of money.
Well, the nice thing is you will be picking up Iridia, so that Bahamut summon isn't a bad thing to find. Granted, you know, Iridia, not the best character, my favorite, but not one of the best characters. Very low HP growth, takes forever to get nuke, and just Bahamut's going to make her useful through most of the game if you choose to level her up.
That's a very good point. I also missed the Excalibur there. Apparently that was in one of the first chests, so never mind. That was an amazing Troya armor.
There's a ribbon, there's a sorcerer robe, there was even a Dorfax. Now Dorfax is interesting since you need a Cecil anyways. That is one of the best weapons to be able to back row glitch him.
Yeah, Cecil is lucky in that he doesn't mind equipping bows and arrows, but if they can run across a cane, the only ranged weapon Kane can possibly equip is the Dwarfax. So Dwarfax very, very useful to have for back row glitching, especially if that Dragoon shows up.
I missed what the Lunar Sparkle was for the Baron Inn, but saw that the second boss was the Imps, and now Dr. Crossack is rewarded with a Tella, and Dr. Crossack has already done Ordeal, so that Tella has his spells.
Yeah, Tella is, kind of feels like a consolation prize since you already got a Fusoya that's so far along its spell list. But Tella can kind of pull his own weight. He's got a large complement of spells. You do some interesting things. Granted, he's almost entirely overshadowed by Fusoya, but two people with a massive spell list isn't a terrible thing by any stretch of the imagination.
And worst comes to worst, you can always just make him take a long nap and have a good agility anchor.
That you can. Tella's physical stats are very, very poor, which make him a prime candidate for agility anchoring, since you want that agility stat on your middle character to be as low as possible when manipulating fights such as the Zeromus fight.
We see that the first boss in Tower of Zod is the D-Lunars. Fu already having Fire 3, this fight is not much of a threat.
Yeah, D-Lunars can be a scary boss, especially when you have very physically oriented teams in a spot where it has a lot of hit points. Neither of that is the case here. This is a decent HP spot just because it has the combined HP of all three of the Maga sisters. But yeah, with a powered Fu, with adamant armor, with high level spells, not really a problem. There's Paladin Cecil. That's another objective.
We also see that our second boss in Dwarf Castle is going to be that Kainatsu. That's actually a nice spot for Kainatsu. It's a low HP spot, so his wave is not going to do very much damage.
Yeah, and when you've got an Excalibur Cecil and Fusoya packing high-level magic, you're going to be able to shave HP off of Kainatsu very, very fast to avoid damage from that wave. Second character is a Cid, which, is a little lackluster compared to some of the other characters we have, but I mean, Excalibur Cecil and Fusoya are going to make a lot of characters look lackluster, honestly.
This is very, very true. Cid, a nice character if you can get him really early. He can do a lot of work in the early game, but once you start getting into that mid and late game, his damage just isn't that good. He does have a really great HP growth, though.
Yeah, that HP can be incredibly useful, even going into Zeromus if you don't plan to use him for attacking. He makes a great chemist because he can take a nuke or two and still be up there without having to really stop and heal himself. But that is the Fabul Gauntlet, so it is not going to be a quick trip out of Zod here.
No, but luckily the Val spot doesn't have too much HP, so it shouldn't have too much trouble clearing through this gauntlet quickly. But the nice thing is pretty much all the runners are going to want to do this, especially since there's the Cecil there, so you're not really worried about the gauntlet at this point.
Yeah, not going to be a problem at all. Just a time investment. We should note, though, here, while our runners are sort of just kind of catching up on each other and running through Gauntlet here, there is a new flag it's not one we have activated now, but definitely one you should try checking out if you mess with your own seeds here with the beta. It actually replaces the Fabul Gauntlet fight with the random encounter table that's surrounding the boss location, which is a really neat concept. And it puts in a lot of enemy formations that you might not be used to seeing in free enterprise, as well as making them the gauntlet a little bit scary in some of those higher level areas.
That actually could be very interesting. I'm gonna have to take a look at that, but it's not activated. We have standard gauntlet, and standard gauntlet with a pretty decently powered Fu with an adamant armor. You're just gonna blitz through this pretty quickly, and you know all the runners are gonna come here. Pixel Tamer now just getting his Earth Crystal, grabbing that hovercraft, so probably gonna go pick up his adamant armor here real soon, or maybe just going straight underground. Gonna look at that free character.
Yeah, that's very interesting, because this is going to be our first check at the Eblin Cave character. I might be thinking, well, if I check this and it's one of my characters, then I'm getting 3 character checks instead of just 2, so I'm more likely to get my objectives here. It's a very interesting play here. We'll see what comes of it. And to answer a question in chat, the game does not have to be completed with Cecil and Rydia. They just have to be recruited. They don't even actually have to join your party. As long as you hit that screen where they attempt to join your party, then that is considered the objective completed there. So you can have Rydia come up and just kick her to the curb, and you're good to go. That is considered recruitment as far as the quest system is concerned.
I'm very impressed with what our development team, led by Boardface, is able to do for this 4.0 beta, and so many cool new features. But Invenerable and Simbu wrapping up that gauntlet. Dr. Krasak now getting his Cecil, gonna see that Sid, and that's an adamant. Normally runners are excited to see adamant, but this isn't Forge the Crystal, so that could lead to an Excalibur.
It could. We already have an Excalibur, but if another Cecil shows up, more Holy Swords aren't a terrible thing. Yeah, adamant usually something we're excited to see, since we've been seeing a lot of Forge percent recently. But unfortunately tonight, adamant is really not going to be of much value to anyone. Looks like Pixel Tamer has found Porum, and Dr. Lugai is going to be in the Rubicon spot. So that's a boss check and a character check. Neither any that we need here. And looks like, Pixel Tamer's just going to exit out of there and probably head to Zod next.
Porum. I love getting Porum, especially if I haven't seen a Rosa, because she's still a solid white mage, just needs a little more HP. We did see that the Lunar Sparkle in Baron Inn was the Nope Rope, and I am very happy to see Nope Rope in that first Baron Inn spot.
Yeah, I'm sure all of our runners that go through Baron Inn are happy to see that. The less chances you have to run into Nope Rope in a later boss fight, the better. And then, Girl Named Captain pointing out in chat something that I think really needs to be brought up. If you do end up getting the Adamant and the Legend Sword and turning them in for the Excalibur quest, that does open up the Kokol shop, the Kokol Forge shop, which can carry some very high tier items. And the reason that is important is a lot of the items that we've essentially taken for granted as being available in shops for a lot of Free Enterprise's history are no longer readily available. Things like hourglasses, Bacchus wines, these things are not guaranteed anymore. So opening up that Kokol shop is another chance to possibly get those really valuable consumables that were exclusive to the Japanese version of Final Fantasy IV, at least initially, and that can really swing the tide in certain fights where they're useful.
So we now see Invenerable turning in his pink tail. So now he has that second Adamant armor. He also has that Excalibur Cecil. So Adamant, Excalibur, Cecil, going to be great. Adamant, Fu, going to be doing really well as well. I'm a little sad to see none of our runners are going to the Twin Harp, though.
Yeah, it is a bit of a shame, but that is a large time investment, and all you get out of it is a single key item check and a boss check. Whereas, a lot of our runners haven't gone to Evelyn Cave yet, so they want to do a character check there, a boss check there, and potentially open up access to the underworld as well. There's going to be a second boss check at the King Queen Evelyn spot. So it just, under this specific set of flags, I can't blame this play because there's a lot of value potentially to be had in Evelyn Cave.
I totally agree with you on the value. I just personally fan of giving the people what they want.
Well, you'll be happy to know that one of the flags you can put on now makes music mandatory.
Oh, so me constantly rolling music required seeds is not going to be as special.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, that skill is not as valuable anymore now that anybody can do it. I'm sorry.
Oh well, but we see Invenerable and Simbu going into the Cave Eblon. Gonna get that pour. I'm gonna be happy to see him White Mage. As great as Fu is, his MP pool is still limited. Porm does get a lot of MP, still gets, the Cure 4, the Berserk, everything you're going to want from a White Mage. You just got to baby her a little bit for the Z fight. Pixel Tamer looks like he just finished up his D-Lunar fight and now going to be heading up into that Fabul Gauntlet, get that Cecil, get that Sid, and Dr. Crossack is now going to the Waterfall Cave, going to quickly take out the Asura. Choosing not to, so pretty confident in where his Fu is at.
Yeah, I think, his Fu is pretty far along, so yeah, it looks like that was just a pure boss check and nothing else. And a little bit of synchronicity here from Invenerable and Simbu. They are very neck and neck heading down through Evelyn Cave here.
Evelyn Cave is going to be, unless for some reason that Twin Harp has the magma key, this is our only way underground at the moment.
Yeah, that is definitely a possibility that would make getting under the underground easier. But honestly, with how powerful the parties are right now, with Adamant Armor Cecil, with Fusoya with a strong complement of spells, it almost feels like, well, since there's bosses to check down here anyway, and the length that it takes to check music, I would almost struggle to say, even if the Magma Key was at Cave Magnus, this might be just as fast, if not faster.
I'm going to live with my dream. But no, we found that the first boss at the King Queen is Mom Bomb. Mom Bomb normally is fairly nasty in this spot. It's got a high attack power, and the additional 10,000 HP. Crystal Sword, Adamant Cecil, not scared. Fu with Adamant Armor, not scared. This boss is nothing to worry about.
Yeah, in any other kind of seed, this could be a major roadblock, but this just kind of goes to show just how enormously powerful this team is, that just kind of shakes it aside with no problem whatsoever. Dr. Cossack, though, is going to be the hero of the people here and give us music, so there we go. We've got someone making the harp check.
Good. You always got to get that harp check in. It is the most critical of checks. But Invenerable had zero trouble with that Mom Bomb. I suspect Simbu's going to have just as little trouble. And again, I don't think Invenerable's going to have any trouble with the Dr. Luge fight either. That's going to be... Those Adamant Armors are just so good, especially against physical heavy bosses.
Yeah, one of the issues is that this fight could have a large number of HP, but now that it's going to be split between essentially 3 targets, the 2 in the first fight and the 1 in the second, that's going to make it much easier than it normally would be anyway.
Dr. Crossack trying to take out his party quickly for this first part of the Dark Elf for the heart check. Unfortunately, Fu little too tanky.
Yeah, one of the problems of being that absurdly powerful is, well, you're that absurdly powerful and it's hard to even take yourself out. So it looks like we're gonna see the entire cutscene to completion here.
So
almost
close.
enough. Oh, we got the HP ran out instead. The alternate ending.
I will take it, just to make it that much slightly longer.
And we will see what Edward has in store for us with his harp. Or here, rather.
I do not know this song. It's the first time I've been stumped in a long time.
Yeah, I'm struggling to come up with it myself. Wild Arms 2, okay.
Oh, our wonderful Scala Kitty got it right in chats. And we have Dolls. Normally Dolls is not too bad. Unfortunately, this spot has really high magic defense.
Yeah, not only that, but we have limited access to hourglasses, as I mentioned before, so not as free as it normally is, where you can put the stop status on all those dolls in the back and avoid potentially getting the big doll here. So let's see how Dr. Cossack decides to deal with this here. Oh, wow, that is a clever use of the stone spell, and I think he's going to get out of this scot-free.
And we have some pretty nice sync on Invenerable and Simbu, both of them clearing out Luge, both of them getting the Falcon at the same time. Crossack, that stone was absolutely brilliant. Quickly takes out the rest of the dolls, and Pixel Tamer wraps up his Zot.
Yeah, it was really, really smart. Oh my god, and it was the magma key after.
that you know, with as much trouble as that was, that makes up for it, because now you don't have to do the underground and just gets, or not, you don't have to do Cave Eblon in the upper Babel. You can go straight to the underground.
Yeah, so that is big for Dr. Cossack. Now, the only thing that might trip him up here is he, if it ends up being a boss search for that Bahamut, he might be having in the back of his mind, well, I didn't check the bosses in Cave Evelyn and, the bosses in Upper Babel, that's always a potential. So depending on where Bahamut ends up, that might trip him up. But other than that, oh, actually, no, it looks like he's going to go check Evelyn anyway.
He's probably going to go take a look at the characters. Still needs to find that Rydia. We'll be able to get at least one boss check. And you can probably make a little bit of assumptions based on how the seed is going, whether or not Bahamut is there. So I wouldn't be too worried about being tripped up at Bahamut for this. Yeah, right you are. That's going to make it a lot more sure. There's going to be a lot less second guessing now that it's only going to be one boss spot that is a mystery instead of two. So yeah, real solid play here by Dr. Cossack, really keeping the uncertainty to a minimum. And Invenerable and Simbu still sticking pretty much right next to each other, both in Dwarf Castle, both taking out Leviathan roughly at around the same time. It's like they're playing from the same playbook. But we see, I didn't see, did Dr. Crossack take the Porum? He did not. He saw it was Porum, saw it was Lugai, and just exited right out. Didn't even want to trigger the cutscene. That makes sense. You don't want to. Ooh, that's a Rosa. Speaking of white mages, well, there's the better one. But it looked like Invenerable chose not to keep her. Doesn't even have the Porum. Probably very comfortable with his party. He has Berserk with Tella. He's got his spells with Foog, and Foog's got good enough stats to make his cures stick.
Yeah, honestly, if you've got a high-level sword with Cecil and adamant armor on him, there's really not much else that you need. That is a tremendous amount of damage. He's got Fu if he ever needs to do any healing. So yeah, I really can't fault Invenerable for not picking up Rosa. Just he's where he wants to be as far as power goes to just finish the seed off.
I'm a little disappointed that Knaza was at the Golbez spot because I like seeing the different colored hands that happen.
Oh, you didn't like the blue hand turning into a blue hand?
Eh.
And that is another objective complete for both Invenerable and Simbu. It's just to beat Dwarf Fortress. They don't have to actually have Rydia in the party. She'll have grown up when she does recruit him, so that is a complete objective. Still have to find that Rydia, though, and that is a Legend Sword. So for our runners that already have Adamant, it'll be interesting to see if they want to check out that Kokol shop or not.
It does open up another shop. If you just so happen to run into Edge, that's an Excalibur to throw.
And Simbu wants to know what that shop has. Immediately going to Kokol to turn it in.
Pixel Tamer is actually taking on the Mad Ogre chest in Upper Babel. I don't think I saw any of the other runners do this, just skipped right over it.
Yeah, it's a decent bit of experience, especially if you take advantage of the life glyph. It's a little rougher in this particular iteration of Free Enterprise, though, because you don't have easy access to hourglasses to put the stop spell on all of the ogres. But that being said, a very, very powerful team Pixel Tamer has, so it shouldn't be much of a problem at all.
Unfortunately, I didn't get to look at what Kokol shop had, but I did see that Invenerable picked up that Baron key and Dr. Crossek as well from the Rat Tail chest.
So that is 2 potential boss spots to look for Bahamut, and it is another key item, another 2 key items and a character check. A lot of value in that Baron key.
I love these new objective flags because they make some of those key items or some of those checks you just don't want to deal with a lot more valuable. It's really nice.
Yeah, it's a pretty brilliant inclusion. It really is going to mix up a lot. Oh, that's Rubicons and Rubicons there in the Fame Arch. One of them is the element spot, but neither of them are strictly necessary. Looks like Invenerable is going to take it on, though, and try and get some key items out of this.
That is Ruby in Asura. I would prefer... that's a tough call, because Ruby can be really nasty in either one of these spots. Pixel Tamer now taking on his Mom Bomb fight, and Simbu is very close behind Invenerable and Dr. Crossek in this Fame Arch.
Yeah, there's been a lot of sync up between our runners here, even though they've taken some pretty disparate routes here. The fact that they are high-fiving each other so much is really, really interesting.
I kind of understand it, because when you think about it, you have these particular objectives you're going to go for, so you're going to probably typically lean towards going towards those. So you're going to see a lot of similar routing.
Yeah, right you are. And it doesn't look like Rubicons is a problem at all for the Adamant armor, but we do get a cutscene triggered on his death here. So a little bit of dialogue here for Inven.
It's always interesting when you get those cutscenes. I believe it's based on their HP when you deliver the final blow. And you'll get that little bit of extra dialogue. Just has a Dragoon Spear. We haven't seen a Kmain, so okay.
Yeah, and at this point, even if we did see a Kmain, even with a Dragoon Spear in play, I would doubt either any of our runners would even pick him up. They're pretty much good to go as far as just raw power goes.
And Simbu reset out of the fight. I didn't see if he was in the Ruby or the Elements fight.
Yeah, Simbu just wants nothing to do with that Fame March altogether, just completely exiting out there, and is going to head to the Sylph Cave instead.
on another note, Invenerable is taking on this elements fight. He does have the dual adamant armor, so didn't even bother to heal the rest of his party. Why? They're dead weight. And you can see he's just not any sort of trouble whatsoever.
Yeah, Fire 3 hitting for 1 damage is always a very thing to see. And down go the elements.
Runners have been absolutely enjoying having adamant armor again. Oh, well, that's not helpful.
Yeah, I don't think this is going to help Invenerable's opinion of the Fey March any after this, but I had some more cash, I guess.
But what do you really need to buy? Maybe some Cure 3s if you manage to run into the Bacchus wines?
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I guess the only place left Bacchus wines would be on the moon, because I think they've checked every other spot at this point. Actually, no, I don't know that anybody's gone into Tamara yet. I haven't seen it, but someone might have snuck in there.
It's always fun trying to keep track of where everyone has and hasn't been. Invenerable is going to set up the Sheila 1 check, while Simbu is immediately diving that Baron key, and I don't blame him whatsoever. And now Dr. Krasek is taking on his Dwarf Castle, get another one of those objectives taken care of.
Yeah, really good plays here. I especially love this just very quick decision to go into Baron here by Simbu. Just so much potential value here. Not interested in futzing around with anything else here. Just knows he wants to go in, get that character check, get those 2 key item checks, get those boss checks, and see where we can go from there.
I know people were always ecstatic about D-Mist being in Giant, but what about Rydia in the Giant?
Well, we thought that might be the case on Monday, but it turned out no. On Hero Crystal instead. We had all of our runners checks to the Giant for Rydia, and all came up empty. But yeah, it's always a possibility now that that Rydia is going to be on the Giant. So that puts that in play, and Bahamut could also be one of the bosses on the Giant as well. So all of a sudden, Giant getting more relevant than it normally does.
Ooh, Invenerable just got the package from Sheila 1.
Now that is interesting, because not only is that a character check, there's also a boss at Kaipo. So there's still a lot of bosses in play here. I don't know. It's a very long cutscene to have to go through. Walk to Kaipo, get through all of that just to do a boss check. But we will see. If that ends up being Rydia, Mike is probably going to go through it anyway, because you're going to need to do that to complete the objective.
You, at this point, since you need to find that Rydia, you're definitely going to go take a look at what the package character is. We do see the sisters decided to take over the throne, and that's just a Kmain. Reset.
Yeah, and Venerable not interested in making the Kaipo check. Something to keep in his back pocket in case this turns into a crazy hunt for Bahamut. But with so many boss locations still available...
There's our Rydia on Simbu's side, so you definitely want to be doing this Baron key.
Yeah, not only is it Rydia, but it is the Terra-colored Rydia. Very, very cool sprite.
Oh, my absolute favorite of all the palettes across everyone that Scala's done is that Terra Rydia. My 2 favorite games merged together into one with my favorite character. Absolutely wonderful.
It's pretty fantastic how well that color scheme works.
And Scala being a absolute troll and tease in chat, reminding us that there is more coming. And just so you know, I absolutely love all the sprite palette changes. Ooh, that's a Luca key.
Yeah, that's interesting because it's another boss check. And another key item check, but I don't know. I don't know how much he's going to want to favor that Luca key check at this point.
You're kind of starting to run low on checks, so probably not a terrible check, but he still has this Odin spot. Definitely going to take a look at that. Hoping it is Bahamut, because I believe that's all he needs left is Bahamut.
Yeah, I believe so. A darkness crystal showing up here, either in like say the sealed cave or here on Odin's spot would really open things up, because that is 6 boss spots on the moon that can be checked that Bahamut could possibly be in. We got CPU on Odin's throne here today.
That's not terrible. Simbu just going with the Meteor strats. The spot, if I recall, doesn't have too much HP. Shouldn't have too much trouble. It's just annoying.
Yeah, who needs to actually think and use strategy when you can just drop rocks on your problem?
It works for Zeromus every now and then.
The one problem, of course, the Meteor spell is it takes roughly 1 eon to cast, and there it finally goes off.
But the nice thing is it's going to do max damage to all enemies. CPU no longer back row. Shouldn't have any trouble and get through this fight very, very quickly now.
Yeah, even if he takes a globe 1 or 2, probably still worth the meat. Oh, Tella's getting in on the Meteor action. He must have gotten a Soma drop at some point.
There were Soma drops for Cell in the Eblon Cave.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, Tella having Meteor? Oh, absolutely cast it. Oh, that's a spoon.
That's a spoon. Probably a little late for runners to want to go back to Mount Hobbs and grab Edward. In fact, yeah, Simbu's not even gonna. That's not even canon in Simbu's timeline.
All right, Invenerable now has his own Luca key. Dr. Crossack now diving into that Baron Castle right behind them, and Pixel Tamer clearing up this Kainatsu at Dwarf Castle. And it looks like Simbu... Did he? Okay, so Simbu did set up the Sheila 1, it looks like. So gonna grab that package. Don't know if he's really gonna want to go check that right now, though.
Yeah, because he already has all of his characters complete. So the only thing the package represents to him right now is a potential boss check. And there's so many other boss checks that take a lot less of a time investment. That I think he just even reset out of there.
He just totally reset out of it. What'll happen is he'll find the pan and take it then. But right now that package is totally worthless.
Yeah, Simbu not interested in key items today. He is a man on a mission, and that mission is find the father of all Eidolons and take him down.
So what boss spots do we have left? We have the sealed cave, and I believe we have top of tower, and that's it. So this sealed cave is probably our darkness crystal or that top of tower. There's lots of other combinations, but darkness crystal is coming up very, very soon. Yeah,
it's got to have darkness crystal in one of these 2 spots, because we do have to have that lunar access, and that's going to be major, because it is likely that Bahamut is somewhere on the moon, just based on the available boss spots left. So, getting that darkness crystal is first is going to give you first crack at trying to find him on the moon somewhere. But yeah, it'll be really interesting to see what item and boss we get here in Sealed Cave.
Just to point out, it looks like Invenerable going with the Eon strat of Tella Fu Medio.
Tella's Medio's not having quite the same punch as our Lunarian Mop, but he does what he can.
Dr. Crossack now has recruited his Rydia. By the way, you saw that the Globe 199 still did 9,999 damage. Adamant Armor is not going to help with that. And Invenerable seeing the spoon. Looks like he's going to keep it.
And there's a Darkness Crystal, so yeah, Simbu is going to want to walk out with regardless of what boss is here.
And that is Vanilla Darkness as well.
And Pale Dim, not the dragon we're looking for, but this shouldn't be a problem at all.
No, Pale Dim is going to be very, very simple. Yeah, Fu, Nuke. This spot not too terrible on HP, so very, very quickly done. Only thing that's annoying, Pale Dim, pretty resistant to Holy.
Yeah, so you'll notice Cecil maybe not doing quite the damage you're expecting him to do, as equipped as he is, and that is because his Excalibur has the Holy Element, so Pale Dim's going to resist a little bit of it.
But you still have Nuke with Fu, not going to have too much trouble, and Cecil's still doing respectable damage. And I just took a look at Pixel Tamer's side. He has 5 crystal rings, so...
I mean, the only thing better than 1 crystal ring is a whole set of 5, so what else are you going to spend your money on at this point?
And then still has a cursed ring in the inventory, so very, very content right now. Simbu, quick work of that Pale Dim. Pale Dim, never really that threatening of a boss, unless you accidentally cast summons, but...
And Invenerable, hot on Simbu's heels, is going to have his Darkness Crystal here before long, so this might come down to how our runners choose to approach the moon, depending on whether they decide to go from the top down, bottom up, or if somebody tries to sneak in a play on Giant and it ends up being one of the bosses there. It'll be very, very interesting to see what the runners do from here.
I believe we still have Top of Tower as well, so that's another interesting play you could go for. Not one that most people like, but always an interesting one.
Yeah, it comes down to, do you want to play the numbers, or do you want to try the unexpected play because you think you're behind and you want to, sneak in ahead of somebody else? And gambles pay off sometimes. So if you're feeling like you're in a position where you need to make the gamble, then you might just be tempted to make it.
Also, just to point out, Dr. Crossack just saw CPU and just immediately noped out of that fight.
Yeah, probably, just knows that the only thing he's looking for right now is Bahamut. Not really interested too much in key item progression. If he does have the Luca keys, so chances are he will stumble across that Darkness Crystal before long. So hopefully not. It doesn't seem like he's going to regret that decision much at all. Like, I don't think it's going to be weighing on his mind. Oh, I didn't check the key item at Odin. Yeah, I think he's going to give us our first glimpse of Tower here.
Ooh, I actually really like this from Dr. Crossack. Probably feeling a little bit behind. I know a lot of runners do say they always feel behind. So this is an interesting play. No one has gone to the top of Tower. If Bahamut's here, Dr. Crossack's in go mode, because that Darkness Crystal looks like it's going to bait Simbu if Bahamut ends up being here.
Yeah, it's a big if, but yeah, that would completely change the tone of this race. Because that Darkness Crystal represents so much potential value with so many boss checks to be made, that if none of them end up being Bahamut, then yeah, anybody who gets baited by the Darkness Crystal is going to be in a world of trouble.
So we have the 5 bosses in the Lunar Subterrane, the Bahamut spot, and 2 bosses in Giant. So that is, math is hard, 8 bosses. Lots of potential for your Bahamut. And that's just a DKC.
Yeah, shouldn't be a problem with Fusoya and Cecil HP totals they have, and the amount of healing they have to patch up any damage. Just got to take 3 of those Dark Wave attacks and you're golden.
And this spot, not the highest on attack power. You're not going to be too worried. Yeah, a little over 3. Oh, why? Dr. Crossack just attacked the Dark Knight, so he's going to have to eat another Dark Wave.
Yeah, something tells me that was probably just an overeager A-press there. No?
No, that last one was a defend. It was just an overeager.
Okay. I was wondering if maybe this was some new tech that I wasn't aware of.
All right, we're getting our first look at the Moon character, and I believe Octoman was at Bahamut. Oh, that's just another old man.
Of all the characters to get a duplicate of, when you already have a Fusoya start.
I always do not like seeing Tella on the Lunar Throne, because it's just like, that's just an insult to Fu.
He's Fu's understudy.
Invenerable is doing a door grind?
But
I haven't seen
yeah,
that in a while. That's it's really good. It is good experience. It's just not what I was expecting. And I didn't see what he got from the Pain Man.
yeah, I missed it as well. But yeah, Invenerable has the 10 key items that he needs for the double experience. You know, he also knows sirens are not, you know, plentiful. You have to get them out of chests. They're not going to be any. It doesn't seem like they're in any of the shops. So since he's making this descent through Sealed Cave anyway, you know, you might as well get the levels, especially since he's picked up the Darkness Crystal. He knows he's going to walk out of here to hold on to it. So I actually really like this play from Invenerable. Go ahead and get your grind done now, because you're going to be going to the moon and, you know, checking these really high-powered lunar spots. So, you know, get yourself where you need to be, get yourself in a position so that he might be thinking, well, if I'm on the moon and I get the crystal while I'm on the moon, I just want to go right to Zeromus. I don't want to have to come back to the blue planet for any reason whatsoever. So I like this play a lot.
Also, just to note, Dr. Crossack got a vanilla tower key and found the evil door, and it is a door, I'm going to argue on that, in the cannon room, and we're going to see what this key item is.
Yes, that means that the Darkness Crystal is gating Bahamut, so that is a required item here.
Simbu finds the water hag and just straight up not going to fight it, just wants to find that Bahamut as quickly as possible.
Yeah, there isn't any key item at this point that is going to give our runners any kind of progression here. With the exception of that package that Simbu gave up. If it ends up being in Kaipo, I mean, that's still a possibility.
I'm really enjoying this because some of these key items that you normally, oh, I got package, it's a key item, now becomes, oh, this could be potential. Oh, that's just a glass helm from the tower key. Not the greatest thing to see, but does offer some good physical defense.
Yeah, and I was, oh,
there's Bahamut.
All the speculation's over.
Well, looks like Simbu is going to be the first of our runners in go mode. Bahamut being at the Ogopogo spot, and Bahamut is never scary.
Yeah, but now Simbu is going to be in a little bit of a conundrum here because Bahamut's going to give him the crystal. He's going to have the crystal. He's going to be right here in the lunar core, right in front of Zeromus, but he's going to have to go back to do a little bit of grinding because while he's powerful, his Cecil is nowhere near where he needs to be to fight Zeromus. He's only got 1200 HP. He needs to get a few more levels, and without Sirens, he doesn't have an easy way to do that other than turning on random encounters or fighting some of the boss spots here for the XP that they have.
I wouldn't be surprised to see him do a couple of the boss spots up here, but Simbu is also an amazing runner, so I wouldn't be surprised if he just decided to attempt to nerf Big Bangs.
Yeah, that's also a possibility as well. We'll see what he decides to do. Probably the cogs are already spinning in Simbu's head right now of what he's going to do. So as soon as he finishes up this relatively easy fight, we'll see what he decides on.
Pixel Tamer having a little bit of trouble with this Elements fight, but is using the Reflect Fire 3. Shouldn't have any more trouble beyond that. Yeah, there it goes.
Yeah, that's going to skip the counterattack that would bring out the other elemental fiends there. So all you have to fight is Mylon Z, and the rest don't even come out because their script is just completely ignored.
And Pixel Tamer obviously very disappointed to see that Bahamut summon from the Leviathan spot, guarded by the elements that almost destroyed his party. But Simbu now has his crystal, so what are you going to do? Oh, and that's some vanilla as well.
Been a lot of vanilla this seed. It's been a very delicious seed in that regard.
Had plenty of vanilla, some delicious French vanilla, and one Bahamut wanting to pretend he's a nope rope and failing miserably.
Let a dragon dream.
No. But Invenerable now going to take a look at this Bahamut spot, and you know, we have the knowledge, but this makes sense. You're just looking for a single boss. Quickly run down here, take a quick look what the boss is, and then just either reset out or exit.
Yeah, obviously Bahamut's not here, but this is absolutely the right play to make. It's a quick check, then you just go into the lunar subterranean proper, and yeah, it looks like Simbu is going to do that D-lunar spot. It's worth 100,000 XP, I think, which is doubled to 200,000, and it's just 3 physical attacks on Water Hag. So very, very quick and easy infusion of XP here.
Yeah, no, it makes perfect sense. You saw Water Hag. You're definitely going to save that for when you want to get some quick experience. You just need to get a decent amount of HP on your Cecil, which he got the experience from the Ogopogo spot, and you're going to be pretty good to go. And we also see Dr. Crossack doing a little bit of a door grind as well, and Invenerable is now making his way into the moon.
Let's see if Simbu is satisfied with his levels. It was a level 40 Cecil.
He's got a couple of apples. Cecil is over 2,000 HP. I think he's going to be okay to go.
Yeah, a little, maybe a little on the low end, but with the adamant armor and the equipment that he's got, shouldn't be too much of a problem for Simbu. Very, very seasoned player of this game. So if anybody can go in at these levels, it's Simbu, absolutely.
But
he didn't even take a save either. He just went right after that fight.
Simbu really knows this Aromas fight, has the script memorized. Going to be incredible. But I think there's a question dealing with posteriors, and I'm kind of lost. Can you help me here, mate?
I believe now is the time that we ask, whose butt are we going to kick tonight? So get your Z flags out in chat, because Zeromus's randomized sprite is coming up very shortly.
And this is my favorite part of the game. It's always it just drags itself on just to see what wonderful Scala Kitty has provided for us.
And the crystal is tossed, and it is
some random noises. Feeding us.
That's a new one to me, and that is pretty fantastic.
So anyone that doesn't know, this is a sprite from Final Fantasy VI from when Locke steals the clothes from the merchants or the guards. It is absolutely hilarious. I love it. Thank you.
Got his clothes too.
That is looking like a pretty fast Zeromus.
Yeah, but honestly, if I were up against Simbu with this kind of team, I would probably be shaking just like that sprite is.
But Invenerable finds his own Bahamut, is taking that out, set up a couple reflects, shouldn't have any trouble with this. Dr. Crossack now getting his Darkness Crystal, taking care of this Paladin, and Pixel about to find that Rydia after taking out the Mega Sisters.
So yeah, this is do or die for Simbu here. If Simbu does not close this out and happens to take a wipe to this fight, then Invenerable is going to be right on his heels, because Invenerable is going to get the crystal right after this. It wouldn't surprise me to see Invenerable just immediately march down the court right to Zeromus, maybe even going back to the save point.
And just something to point out that Scala is letting us know in chat, this was actually a Z sprite contributed by Boardface. And she says he contributed like 25% of them. So awesome job. Still incredible work between all of our developers.
Yeah, so far things going pretty smoothly here for Simbu. It looks like it was a hard-casted nuke directly targeting Zeromus in order to get the counter nuke to nerf the Big Bang, and lucky for him, goes right off the reflected Yang, so doesn't even have to worry about healing anything up.
That's always the best feeling, is when the counter nuke is reflected back at Zeromus. And Simbu doing some pretty solid damage to this Z fight. Doesn't look like he's having any sort of trouble.
That being said, I bet it was a phase transition. I was like, it seemed like it was a little bit early to try to nerf the Big Bang, but if the damage actually pushed him to the next phase, then that probably is why.
But just to point out, Invenerable, right after getting Bahamut, ran straight to the Zeromus fight.
Yeah, this is going to be very, very close. Simbu just has to execute the rest of this fight flawlessly. If anything goes wrong for Simbu here, then this is Invenerable's race. Invenerable is in a very, very comfortable position with his team, much higher level than Simbu, so much more likely to just get right through this fight without any incident. But so essentially the ball is in Simbu's court right now. Everything looks to be going fine right now, but one slip up and this race goes right back to Invenerable.
This is very, very true. A lot of things can happen in the Z fight that you just he's rude.
Yeah, he's a pretty fantastic final boss, actually. A really wonderful way to cap off these runs, because even the best laid plans can crumble before Zeromus if you're not careful. But looks like Simbu is in the Meteor phase. That is the last phase, just a 10,000 more HP to get through, and Simbu will have the win here. Let's see if he can pull it out. And there we go.
Simbu takes first place in the race with a time of 1 hour, 7 minutes, and 20 seconds. GG, very well played on his part.
That is a phenomenal time when you consider all of the objectives that had to be completed to get there. So wonderful job there by Simbu. Great run, and we'll see if we can get him in here and get his thoughts on that seed.
He went in with a plan, and he did it incredibly well, just rushing through boss spots, looking for those bosses quickly. Had just the key items he needed or thought he was going to need, and just incredible play as always from Simbu.
And it looks like we've got Simbu here. Simbu, GG on your victory.
Thank you.
So, looked like you just had a really solid plan going into.
And it looks like we've got Simbu here. Simbu, GG on your victory.
Honestly, I didn't have too much of a plan. Except
looked like you just had a really solid
like,
plan going into this race. Want to talk about that a little?
Most of the treasures are kind of unbalanced, so if I can put those off for a little bit and see how far I can go with food, that's going to be great. And after a little while, it was like, oh, we're already fully powered. We have an adamant armor, and here we go. Yeah.
So I wanted to ask about your, did you have a plan as far as XP went when you went to the moon there? Because we saw a lot of our other runners stop to do a grind while they were exiting the sealed cave on the trapdoors there, whereas you just kind of went right out, went to the moon there after you got the darkness crystal. Even though your levels were a little low, did you have a plan of how you were going to get those levels, and then just kind of ran into the water hag there at D-Lunars?
I didn't really have a plan. I was actually debating pretty close to soloing with Fu. I knew that if I Zerk Cecil, he could do about 30,000 damage, and then Fu, with enough care, could do the rest. I'd have to go shopping for tier 3 potions, but when I saw Water Hag there, it was like, huh, that's interesting. And I almost did it right then, but then I thought, oh wait, let me check my key item count, and I saw I was at 9, and it's like, if I find the crystal, I can use these to get 200,000 EXP, and that would make really easy hybrid strats, so it just kind of fell in place there. Otherwise, I would have probably done something with Zerking Cecil for a lot of damage, and then reflecting some nukes at battle speed 3.
Oh, yeah. No, it was very amazing that the Water Hag ended up at D-Lunars and you had 9 items. That's very lucky. But any thoughts on these new objectives or the seed in general?
I mean, the objectives are really interesting because it really makes the... Especially, we didn't see it this time because I found the characters fairly early, but sometimes when you're missing the Sand Ruby and stuff, especially when moon key items are on, sometimes you're thinking, should I go to the moon and clear it out looking for a boss? Or should I kill every boss? And how do I find my characters? Do I go to the giant? It definitely changes what you have to mentally process about the seed.
I agree with you. It's really nice to see this amazing shakeup with the objectives, and once again, just incredible play on your side. And GG, looking forward to more from you.
Yeah, thank you.
One last thing I wanted to ask you before you go: was there ever any fear that Bahamut was going to be behind that package you threw away?
Well, I wouldn't call that throwing it away, since I could have went back and checked it in like 30 seconds. It wasn't that bad, but I was a little bit concerned when I noticed, oh, I threw the spoon and the package, and those would have been 10th key items pretty easily. But again, I wasn't really concerned about a grind. I thought, Fu with all of this super stuff is gonna be fine. We'll worry about that later, and everything worked out in the end.
Gotcha.
I mean, I felt bad because I skipped out on Twin Harp and I skipped out on Jobdorf, and it's like, oh, well, the crowd's not gonna like me, but maybe the seed will.
Just to point out, what was at Twin Harp was the Magma Key.
Oh, well, I don't know if that would have saved me a ton of time, but yeah, I mean, I was betting on the 2 bosses instead of potentially the Magma Key and just 1 boss, so it's, as I said, gambles.
I mean, you made the right call. It really wouldn't have saved you any time. It was the dolls.
Okay.
So, no, just incredible play as always, and very nice work on that Zeromus fight.
Yeah, thanks. Anyway, thanks for the restream, guys, and have a good night.
You too, Simbu. Congratulations.
And during that interview, we had our second place finisher, Invenerable, always second, with a time of 1 hour, 9 minutes, and 46 seconds. GG, well played to him. Let's see if we can get him in for an interview. And while we're waiting on him, let's also give a shout out to the rest of our restream team tonight. Moonblaze Wolf handling the restream and the one who provided this very fun seed for everyone, and Atheist taking care of the tracking for us. And without them, this is not possible, and it's always great to be able to work with different restreamers. And we are now joined by Invenerable. GG, well played on second again.
always second.
I'm always going to let you savor that, but second is still very, very good. So what was your thoughts overall for the seeds, kind of just with this new flag?
It's always a little bit irksome having to hunt for the needle in the haystack. Like, for my personal preference, I definitely enjoy the location-based objectives more so than the, than the scavenger hunt ones, I'd say. Just because give me higher completion, but, it's still fun. My big regret that seed, though, is 100% doing the door grind on my way out of the sealed cave, and then seeing that water hag, that juicy 200 XP 3-hit water hag at the D Lunar's altar.
That ultimately was the deciding factor between you and Simbu that race. He went to the moon with no grind under his belt and just happened to he was actually planning to go in solo with Fusoye against Aromas and wasn't planning on a grind, but then the water hag just kind of fell in his lap there. So that just ended up being the deciding factor there.
Yeah. Like, I saw that and I immediately thought, oh, well, that would have been a much more efficient grind. But, don't really hate how I played the seed, enjoyed it, and, I was wondering, so I'm, in accordance with some of the new design philosophy of trying to keep people from shopping as much, I decided to go for it. Because I had a Fu, I had a Tella, who needs Star Veils, right? Where were Star Veils?
Couldn't tell you.
Okay.
If anyone found him on stream, we didn't catch him.
Well, I thought I saw someone have a Star Veil, but just judging from what I saw, everyone was just kind of split up and flew all over the place at the start, and it was a little tricky to keep up with shopping.
Yeah, okay, because I never found Star Veils, I never found life potions. When I had 2 adamant armors, a Fu, and an Excal Cecil, I was just like, okay, no, don't really need much else this seed, just gotta get it done.
Simbu confirmed in chat they were in Mysidia.
Ah, gotcha. Well, again, 2 adamant armors, Cecil, Fu, who needs shopping? We're good.
Yeah, speaking of that 2 adamant armor, so how do you feel about, I know we're kind of still testing the waters with the new loot distribution, but how did you feel about that Evelyn Cave opening that you did?
I like it on the T boosted, which is now T wildish. I like that spot a lot. It's the open one at the start of the game that can have tier 7 treasures in it on T wildish and is guaranteed to have multiple tier 6 ones. And, depending on where the trap chests are in there, it can either take you a little bit of time to save scum all the good loot out, but in that case, as soon as I saw an adamant armor, I knew I was done fishing. Like, adamant armor, Fu, what more do you need?
Oh, it could have been another adamant armor there.
But you were the only one that did that at an opening for Eblon Castle, and I think you were the only one that had 2 adamant armors, and it really sped a lot of things up for you, and just ultimately it was just the door grind.
Yeah, and I've always bad-mouthed the door grind. I probably should have just rolled with literally anything in the giant. Random encounters on the moon, land a good stone spell on some of them and you can mop them up quickly. So I think there were definitely far better grind options. So I'm just not going to listen to Demarine and go do better grinds than trapdoors.
And it also looked like Fey March just bit you once again.
Oh, yeah. Nothing of value there. But again, I was rocking double adamant armor. Nothing there was threatening. Let me go ahead and beat them up while I'm here. So yeah. Did Simbu do either of those Rubicantes?
Not only did he do both of them, he did them at the same time that you did them.
Okay,
No,
good.
Simbu did, I think Simbu did not do both rubies. I think he only did the first one and reset out.
Oh, okay. Well, I always like to see where I've lost time, but if it's doing any spot that has a possibility of a key item, I'm usually okay with it. It's the grind there that I feel real rough about. I'm not doing trapdoors again.
No, you were really close with Simbu throughout almost the entirety of this seed. Really, the only 2 things that kind of slowed you down, you went and checked the package when he went straight to Baron and the door grind. Beyond that, y'all were almost the entire seed just seconds apart.
Nice.
Yeah, if the two of you were over at my house playing GoldenEye, I'd accuse you of screen looking.
But as always, Invenerable, GG, well played. It's always a pleasure to watch you race and see what you are capable of.
Oh, hey, thanks to all of you working on the Restream crew, actually giving us the opportunity to have a Restream. Appreciate y'all taking time out of your Friday nights to do this, and looking forward to seeing how the rest of the race goes. I'll catch y'all later.
Take care, Venerable. GG.
And while we were in that interview, we had a few more finishers. It's not just these 4 racing. Dia came in 3rd place with a time of 1 hour, 15 minutes, 30 seconds. Night Dew took 4th with a time of 1 hour, 19 minutes, and 7 seconds. And Baka Shinobi takes 5th with a time of 1:19:10. And then Flurry 14 just finished with a time of 1:20:31. So GG to all of them.
Yeah, all the puzzle pieces kind of falling in place for a lot of our runners here, and that's the case for our 2 remaining runners on the stream as well. Pixel Tamer in Luca Cave getting the Darkness Crystal and working his way out here.
I kind of looked up and I missed most of it, but it looked like Dr. Crossack did the Giant.
Yeah, Dr. Cossack's been kind of desperately hunting for Bahamut here. I believe he went to the moon and did 1 or 2 checks there, but then rather than go to the bottom of the moon, came out and started looking at all these other places as well. So a little unfortunate because we know he's going to come up empty on these checks here, but might be thinking, well, people are finishing at about an hour. Maybe Bahamut's an easy to access location.
And then, unfortunately, that magma key is now coming to waste more time for Dr. Crossack. He is looking to go check that King Queen spot.
Yeah, and I can't recall what exactly was there, but obviously it's not Bahamut, so this is just
Mom Bomb, my absolute favorite.
Yes.
It is rude. But it looks like Pixel Tamer now going to make his way up to the moon. Going to be pretty happy to see Bahamut there, unless for some reason he decides to go to Giants. I don't picture him doing that. I've been wrong before, many times.
It might be tempting if there was still a character or 2 on the board that needed to be found, but since we're just looking for a boss at this point, going Giant instead of the moon would just be an incredible gamble. And with so many people having finished right now, I would playing the meta there would be, there's probably little chance that it's going to be on the Giant. Yeah, going to the moon here.
Yeah, it's just too tempting to go to the moon. The Giant is just, it's. But here we go. Dr. Crossack's going to discover that this is a Mom Bomb, and I think he is going to have to go to the moon now. And he's fighting it.
You might have forgotten or not caught who was in the Rubicante spot. And
I know.
Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, I know I'm really guilty of just being like, oh, who's the character? Who's the character? Oh, darn, I just missed who was at Ruby.
Every time with me, yeah. I'm so focused on that character that I 9 times out of 10 forget to check who is on the Rubicante spot. So that might be the case with Dr. Cossack here as well.
But I mean, that's why we're making comments and fun of our runners, and they are racing and taking 1st and 2nd place.
Exactly. Believe me, if I was running this, I'd still be looking for Rydia right now.
But yeah, it looks like Dr. Crossack's now leaving the upper babble. Took out the Mom Bomb. I'm a little confused on that, but I might have to ask him about that. That was a little strange. And we now have Pixel Tamer going straight to the bottom of the moon. Going to see that water hag. Going to see maybe potential decent grind if he needs it. I haven't seen his levels in a little while.
Yeah, I think Pixel Tamer did. Actually, no, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if he did any of the trapdoors now that would come to think of it. But yeah, we'll have to get a look at those HP values when he gets into a fight here and see what his party's relative strength is.
I know I saw Dr. Crossack do a door grind as well. Yeah, Dr. Crossack is very, very powerful.
Yeah, it's with sirens not being as guaranteed as they used to be in this specific flag set. Having those really kind of niche grind options, in your hand is going to be very interesting. So, Simbu felt confident going in without a grind, but you can't in this flag set you can't just go up with a stack of sirens and do King Ryu's till you're ready. You're going to have to know where these grind spots are, what grind opportunities are available, and what's going to be the fastest way to get the levels that you need to survive that Zeromus fight.
And a little bit of knowledge goes a long way, so definitely good work for our runners. Pixel sees this water hag, just resets out, just wants to find that Bahamut. Looks like his party was pretty much Zeromus ready, so should be fine.
Very smart play by their Dr. Cossack to just get the quick Bahamut check and get out of there. So very heads up, going to save him some time.
Very, very true. And I kind of wish our runners would have to fight that Octomam, because Octomam at Bahamut is always a pleasure. Not the worst, but always fun.
Yeah, any place you get Octomam a chance to flex those tentacles can get things pretty interesting. But I guess technically they're arms, they're not really tentacles. It's your biology fact of the day.
Close enough.
And Pixel Tamer has found Bahamut.
Once again, another Bahamut trying to imitate the Nope Noodle and going to fail miserably. And Dr. Crossack now making his way down. So should find this Bahamut fairly quickly.
Yeah, and similarly, shouldn't have much of a problem with them at all. It turns out when you telegraph your main attack for 5 turns in a row, you're not a very difficult boss to deal with.
Yeah, it's Bahamut is one of my favorites because he is never scary unless you're like in cattle, like a Kata seat.
Yeah, there can be opportunities where you're the right resources available to deal with, but in the vast majority of these seeds, you're going to be able to easily put him in his place.
Very, very true. And once again, while our runners are just kind of cleaning up this seed, another shout out to the rest of our restream team. Moonblaze Wolf handling the restream. Always a pleasure getting to work with him, and Atheist taking care of tracking, because as commentators we don't see everything, and the trackers usually and most of the time keep us in check.
Yeah, huge shout out to the both of them, giving us a chance to be on the mic and just making this race happen. Enormous amount of effort goes into both doing the restream and keeping track of all the key items for everybody. So please give him a follow and give him some support. Definitely deserve it.
Very, very true. And of course, as always, make sure you follow all of our runners. They are putting themselves out there for your entertainment. And it's always fun to get to watch all these different strategies and different runners. And it's a great pleasure getting to work with them as well in races and just the community in general.
Yeah, especially on these beta flags here, everything's really up in the air and new metas are establishing themselves and everything is kind of uncertain. Being willing to volunteer your stream to be restreamed here and put yourself in front of everybody is really awesome of them.
Did Pixel Tamer just wipe to Bahamut?
Yeah, did not have any. I'm not sure that he has Star Veils. Which I think is what's making this difficult. So any reflex he has to put up, he's going to have to put up manually. In fact, he's going to take the experience from Water Hag here before going in again.
That's not a bad idea. Just get a little bit of extra abilities. Maybe get that reflect for his Rosa. Yeah, his levels are a little on the low end for Zeromus, so Water Hag's not a bad idea.
Yeah, and this is giving Dr. Cossack a chance to really pull right back ahead of Pixel Tamer, because Dr. Cossack is now in go mode, going right into that Bahamut fight, and having all of those grinds behind him is just able to just wipe the floor with the King of Dragons there, and he is ready to go fight Zeromus.
And once again, Simbu with a lot of knowledge. Wall only lasts for 30 ATB ticks, so probably about 1 Mega Flare. So, and then he's saying Star Veils are 50 ATB, so it's always great seeing what the community knows and being able to share with us, because I haven't been able to read every little number in the game. So thank you so much for letting us know that, Simbu.
Yeah, and Wall is one of those status effects that is kind of difficult to keep track of because there's no visual indicator for it unless it activates. The only way to really tell if Wall is still up or not is to go in and try to cast either like Wall or some other status effect on your party and have it pull up that window that lists what effects are currently on your party members. So it can be really, really tricky to make sure you're constantly have that reflect status up to get that Mega Nuke reflected.
Very, very true. We now have Dr. Crossack going to go take on his Bdaeomus. That's a tongue twist.
But well, actually, I don't want to say that. That's an entirely different kind of.
But Dr. Crossack, probably the highest leveled of all of our runners on stream tonight. This Zeromus fight shouldn't be too terrible, and I think his Yang is fairly close to that 28 agility-ish. I can't tell their agility numbers based on HP, but I know Yang gets to that 28 at a reasonable level, and that seems pretty close.
Yeah, and even if he ends up with a bit of a faster, those massive HP totals on all of his characters, he should be able to deal with it with little trouble. So let's see how he handles it here.
Cecil with almost 4,000 HP, Kmain with the Dragoon Spear and 3,500, Rosa with 2,600. He has almost nothing to fear from this Zeromus as long as he doesn't miss menu. And Pixel Tamer finishes up the Bahamut fight and now has his own crystal.
So yeah, he is also in go mode. A little bit lower level Cossack is, but still well within the range that he can go take on Zeromus. We'll see if he decides to just go for it, or if he wants to back off and maybe gain a little bit of extra experience here.
Maybe going to get a save, but we'll see what he decides to do. Pixel Tamer still a very good runner of this game, so. Dr. Crossack gets through the... It looks like that wasn't a unnerfed first Big Bang.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I wasn't watching specifically, but I'm not sure that Dr. Cossack actually used anything on Zeromus to attempt to nerf it.
Not that it's really needed. He's got pretty much everyone at that 2,500 breakpoint, and I think Fu still has the adamant armor, so Fu's going to be fine for the most part against Big Bangs. Cecil pumping out 6k damage. He is in no way scared of this fight.
Yeah, and a single Cure 4 from Rosa is going to patch up any damage that a Big Bang is going to deal, so yeah. Nerfing it isn't even strictly necessary here. And yeah, it looks like Pixel Tamer wants to do a few more bosses here and get some more XP.
He is doing the boss, the Plague Spot, which not the most EXP, but will help. Probably wants to get some more HP and spells on Rosa. Maybe, I don't think she quite has Cure 4. I know she's close.
Yeah, that might be the big breakpoint that he's looking for, is the Cure 4, because that makes things a lot safer in the Zeromus fight.
But anyways, any of our viewers who are interested in this awesome randomizer, definitely come and check it out. Come join us on our Discord. Just an absolutely amazing community. There is, if you're just learning, there is the newbies corner with a lot of these top runners. No, Simbu, who took first, is in there a lot, and Venerable, I see, is chatting in there a lot. Everyone is always willing to sit there and help you learn this, give you information if you get stuck. So amazing, amazing community. Definitely come check it out. And if you're wanting to take a look at these new flags, which are still in beta, we have the, Moonblaze Wolf put it into chat for us, the beta.f4fe.com to check out all these new flags that our wonderful dev team has provided for us.
And we do have a 7th place finisher, Pkey4787, finishing 7th place at 134.54, and just after that, literally a second behind, is Dr. Cossack at 134.55, taking 8th place. GG, Dr. Cossack.
GG, well played. Definitely had a lot of fun exploring the seed, and I am very happy to see he did the Giants, but just overall, very, very good play from him. Let's see if we can get him in for another. And meanwhile, looks like Pixel Tamer's getting set up to go into that Z fight.
And it looks like Dr. Cossack's going to bow out of an interview. Completely understandable. It's late on a Friday. But give it up in chat for Dr. Cossack. Absolutely stellar performance here. 134.55, finishing with all of these conditions in about 90 minutes is no easy task. So wonderfully played by Dr. Cossack.
Not only did he finish in a 134, he did an enormous amount of checks, including Giant. He also did the Twin Harp, did a door grind, did the Tower of Lower Babel. So incredible play. 134, nothing to be ashamed of. And Dr. Cossack's been a part of the community for a while, and always a pleasure to race against him. And we have a 9th place finisher, Asmati. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong. Asmati Games, 9th place with a time of 136.58, and then Anti-Del right behind with a time of 137.10. GG, well played to both of them.
Yeah, there have been some phenomenally close finishes here this seed tonight. This has been very interesting to watch these results come in.
It certainly is. I'm really enjoying these new flags. I love seeing all the different sort of routing ideas people are going to have and how they're going to approach all these different objectives.
Yeah, one of the things that has always stood out to me as a huge strength of Free Enterprise as a randomizer is just how customizable it is. With all these different flag setups and different conditions that you could put in, it's always been a big strength that you can essentially run so many different combinations, so many different ways to play through any given playthrough of the game. And with the objective system we put in now, it's basically taken that to a ridiculous degree. I mean, even if you just want to play this game casually, I definitely recommend it, because you can put in all sorts of crazy objectives, all sorts of different alternate win conditions to just really kind of explore, bend, and break the game to your will. It's very, very neat.
Or you can make the game absurdly difficult that was never intended and have absolutely nothing for you unless you're checking trap chests and key item locations. So all sorts of different ways to play. You can get exactly what you want out of it. You can speed run and race like this, or you can sit back and just have an enjoyable ride.
Yeah, I can't wait to see some of the more daredevil people take on flag sets with the new permadeath option.
Ooh, I'm looking forward to trying that out.
There's permadead, and which is any character at the end of combat that is KO'd cannot be revived for the rest of the run. And then there's permadeader, where this also applies to fights like Dark Elf, where you have to lose. So
ooh, I didn't see the permadeader. That's a spicy option. Pixel Tamer on this Bdeomus, and looks like he's not having too much trouble. Cure 3s, his Yang has over 3k HP, his Sid is there, and Cecil at 2200, that's a little low, but shouldn't have too much trouble with this.
Yeah, especially with the equipment that is been available this seed. This should hopefully be a pretty straightforward fight here for Pixel Tamer. Hopefully Zeromus doesn't throw too many curveballs. Or excuse me, Bdeomus.
I mean, you always have to be a little afraid of the Big Bang right into Media, which has wiped out many runner. But we have an 11th place finisher, Ike here, with a time of 1 hour, 40 minutes, and 1 second. GG, well played to him.
Yeah, big GG's there to Iker.
And it looks like Pixel is trying to nerf some Big Bangs.
Yeah, I don't fault this play at all, especially since his HP totals are a little on the low side. Wanting to keep those Big Bangs nerfed just to be on the safe side here is definitely a wise play. Let's hope that... Yeah, he did get the nerf off. Everybody is in the clear.
Yeah, you want to be trying to nerf some of these Big Bangs. Rosa doesn't even have 2k HP. That's a little dangerous HP. That's Porum HP sort of totals. Actually, I still think that's higher than Porum's.
I think you're right. I think it is higher than you normally see.
Speaking of other flag sets you can do, I actually do enjoy doing Porum percent as much as I wish it would go away. No, there's so many cool things you can do, and nerfing Big Bangs, that's just one of those really interesting glitch. Not exactly a glitch, but kinda. I am not the best one to describe it. Definitely someone can probably explain that way better than I can.
It's essentially the in order to make the Big Bangs hurt, he has a massive magic attack, but when he does the counter flares, the game wants to reduce that magic attack so that the flares aren't as deadly, or excuse me, the nukes are within reason. So in order to do that, the game lowers his magic attack for the counter nuke, but it actually takes a few ATB ticks for him to reset it to the regular value. So if you time it right before he does a Big Bang, it'll do the Big Bang at his reduced magic attack, and you'll get substantially lower damage than you would if he was at his full magic. That is my understanding. I could have explained something wrong there, but I'm sure someone will correct me in chat.
But I will say the first Big Bang is a free nerf if you hit him with a spell, and a lot of times, me personally, I throw a Silk Web at him. That one. But it's also been absolutely amazing. Some of the things that have been discovered with this game. Ooh, he did not get the nerf, and Rosa's on the ground.
He has been conserving MP on his Fusoya using appropriate. So that Fusoya can fill in for Rosa in a pinch here, but getting Rosa up with little problem here. That virus might be nasty.
Just Rosa went back down. He's okay. He can at least get his party healed up and get Rosa back up when needed, but he does need to get some more HP on that Cecil.
Yeah, and these are the things we're talking about, how things can go south in a hurry in the Zeromus fight. But it looks like he's stabilized. It should be a shake now, so it's gonna the black hole in the shake, so it's gonna give him some time to get things back in order here. Should be okay going forward.
I just did Pixel Tamer not find the Excalibur?
That's a good question, because yeah, that's
he has it on. I'm just little curiosity things for me. Cecil is an amazing attacker, and Yang is too. Don't be mistaken. Yang, when he gets enough levels, is really good. But I'm just kind of intrigued that he's using Yang and Sid with Berserk instead of the Cecil.
Well, he did just get hit with the black hole, so he might have to reset the Berserk right now. I think he's kind of in stabilize mode, but now hopefully the Berserk will be going back out.
Well, he hasn't been berserking the Cecil. That was what I noticed.
I see. Yeah, that is interesting.
But he should be relatively okay. Rosa is still a little bit of a liability, but looks like he's going to attempt for another nerf. And to answer a question in chat, unfortunately, I don't know what his Cecil has equipped. As far as armor, it's, you know, these runners sometimes get stuff equipped really fast and we're watching multiple streams. So I think his Fu still has the adamant armor. If not, maybe Yang does get that nerf on the Big Bang. And we have a 12th place finisher, Poidrak, with a time of 1:45.25.
Yeah.
GG, well played to him.
Yeah, very well played there.
You know, the other thing is maybe he has a crystal armor on Cecil.
That's a possibility. Crystal armor does prevent you. So if he did have that on Cecil, it would explain why he's not trying to berserk him.
Just something to point out is, as he said, crystal armor prevents you from being able to have the berserk status. There's only one way in the game to get around that, and that's the Avenger's Sword. I didn't see any Avenger's Sword, so if he has a crystal armor on Cecil, he can't berserk him. So just berserk is absolutely amazing.
Yeah, in addition to the straightforward effect you're most familiar with in increasing the physical attack damage, it also has the added benefit that your character's actions are put in immediately. There's no, hesitation. The AI is basically controlling your character. So as soon as the character's turn comes up, it's putting it in the queue. And especially if you've got multiple characters berserked, this can clog the command queue a lot and prevent Zeromus from getting as many turns as he might ordinarily, because the AI is putting your character's turns in, and it's just like not giving him a chance to get his own commands entered. So it's one of the sort of less visible benefits of the Berserk spell.
This game is very, very quirky with the ATB system. There's so many interesting things. You just gotta take my word for it. There's too much to discuss with ATB, but for Zeromus specifically, getting as many berserkers as you can, like Smapey said, floods that queue and allows you to get more attacks in compared to Zeromus with his really annoying Big Bang.
Yeah, keep in mind, this was the first implementation of an ATB system in Fantasy. Well, they had to hold it together with a little bit of duct tape and prayer.
I mean, this game loves its hopes and prayers. I mean, they have a prayer Dios, and
that's very true.
No, this game absolutely fantastic when playing casually. When you're speedrunning it or doing the randomizer, you discover that a lot of paper clips, duct tape, and glue was used to hold this game together. But Pixel is in Medio.
And Sid is going to take a dive, but that should be fine. Should be able to coast right on through here with the damage he needs to finish.
We have 13th place finisher in Dave with a time of 1:48.34. GG to him. And you're probably not missing that Sid just staying on the ground.
And if I were a betting man, I'd say that's the last of the rocks we're going to see.
Is this food berserked? Well, it doesn't matter. There's the flash. Pixel Tamer takes 14th place with a time of 1:48.50. GG, well played to him. Let's see if we can get him in for an interview.
Yeah, GG Pixel Tamer.
And speaking of Pixel Tamer, we are joined by him. GG, well played tonight.
That magma key.
Just so you know, the only person who got the magma key earlier was Dr. Crossack, and I don't think it really would have saved any time.
It still threw me off for a bit once I realized what was hiding behind music.
Music likes to troll everyone.
It really does, doesn't it?
So one thing we were noticing during your Zeronis fight was that you didn't have Cecil Berserk. Was that an intentional, or was there a crystal
that
armor on
was
him?
a consequence of his equipment. I think he had the crystal shield on.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, that's what we were wondering because
Yeah, I noticed you were
up.
berserking Yang and Sid, and I was like, he has the Excalibur. Why is he not berserking Cecil?
Yeah,
So I guess he just.
confirmed during a couple earlier boss fights that I couldn't, and I didn't think to switch my equipment around. I had an Aegis, so I really could have done it too. So I don't know.
It's the crystal armor that prevents you from doing
It was
berserk.
the armor then. I didn't have a good other suit of armor for him. I guess I could have given him the adamant, but doesn't that also have status protection?
For the Zeromus fight, it really doesn't matter about switching around the adamant. What happens when you take the adamant off is it makes your character super weak to the elemental spells.
Right, but Big Bang
But,
is not elemental, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, the Big Bang is non-elemental, and I think Flare is non-elemental. Virus is whatever it is. So yeah, switching adamant for Zeromus is not a bad thing. Just but ultimately it really didn't matter. You had a little trouble with Zeromus, but still overall a pretty well executed
Yeah.
fight.
It was really weird to be hitting fight with Fu. Shame on me for not remembering to go by Ether 2s.
Did your Fu have sight? You could have stolen MP from Sus.
That would have worked really well.
No,
there are a number of times I've had to using Cecil's an MP battery. It's
I mean, these are all things that everyone does and just doesn't realize. But what is your thoughts on these objective flags?
I wasn't sure at first, but I think this was actually pretty cool. It was really interesting to be frantically searching the moon for a specific boss instead of for a specific key item. I felt like it made the checks quicker because I could easily nip out of things if I wanted to.
Very, very true. Just, you see, okay, I'm looking for this. Nope, nope, nope. Oh, there he is. Oh, wait, that's also free experience later on.
Yeah, exactly. I noped out of Water Hag because it wasn't Bahamut. Then I realized, oh hey, Water Hag is free and it's 200k XP, which I desperately need right now.
But no, overall, very well played. I know I've raced against you many, many times, and you always do very well. So, any final thoughts on this seed or any of the beta in general?
Yeah, this is the first time I played the beta. Not having easy access to hourglasses was really something. Making the choice to use the hourglass for the Mad Ogre chest felt like a real decision instead of a gimme.
Well, that's something no one else got to point out, but yeah, that is something really interesting. Is where do you use these hourglasses?
Yeah, it reminded me of my playthrough of the PS2 port, which I'm guessing is based on hard type because it does have a small number of Japanese items strewn throughout. So I was able to figure out, okay, what is actually going to need these.
Yeah, I'm enjoying hearing everyone's thoughts, and once again, Pixel, always a pleasure getting to see you race, and GG once again. Any questions?
Did anybody else get the pink tail that early? I'm guessing yes, because everybody wants to power up Fu quickly and check those easy spots.
3 of y'all got the pink tail pretty much right away, all like at the same time. Invenerable did a different play and went to Eblon Castle right at the start, save scummed the trap chest, and found a second adamant armor in there, and then found his pink tail. So yeah.
That's all I got. Thanks for doing the restream, doing the commentary. Really appreciate this community.
And thank you for being willing to be restreamed. Looking forward to seeing you race again.
GG Pixel Tamer.
Yeah, have a good night, everyone.
Take care.
So did you have any final thoughts on these really nifty flags or the seed in general, Smake?
the Free Enterprise Randomizer going forward. There's so much potential to really mix things up with this new beta release, and I am very, very excited to see what kinds of rule sets the community comes up with going forward. These community races are going to be a ton of fun as we really experiment with what this new build can do.
I agree. There's some other new modes that we haven't shown off yet. I'm just going to stay tight-lipped on that and let y'all go explore the beta. It's absolutely incredible what our developers have been able to crank out for us, and as always, super appreciative of them. And there's still more stuff coming when the beta goes fully live, so definitely be paying attention to that.
Yeah, definitely check it out. Check out our Discord, and be sure to, any questions you got, throw them. Always happy to answer any questions, help people out. We just have a lot of fun with this thing, and love to have you there. But I think that's going to do it for us tonight.
Once again, another shout out to all of our runners. Make sure you give them a follow. They are definitely putting themselves out there for our entertainment. And of course, a huge shout out to the Restream team, Moonblaze Wolf handling the Restream, rolling this joyful beta seed, and Atheist taking care of our tracking, and then Smapey. Kind of weird that both of us were on commentary tonight, but always a pleasure getting to work with you.
Absolutely. Same for you, Mavels. So have a great night, and thanks for watching, folks.
See y'all next time.